so you just had a big smash hit in Greece. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, you know, my song "In Love with You," kind of it made its way over there by chance, coincidence, kind of, and it blew up, man. It's crazy. I'm so thankful for the people that have been supporting it over there, and it's a blessing to see it grow like that. It's crazy.
So is there a story behind it? How did it find its way into Greece?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, to most people, they probably think that's random, like why, you know, like why Greece, but there's a story behind it. There's a TV show in Greece called Radio Arvila, which is like the most influential show in Greece, apparently. And the host of the show, there's like 4 hosts, and one of the hosts, the main guy, this guy Antonis Kanakis, right? He like, you know, they play a lot of videos on the show. Like they'll take videos from online. They'll kind of like, they like to like, you know, add like, you know, fun to the show, and they kind of do like YouTube videos, and they kind of like, they like to add, you know, they like to spice up the show a little bit. So this guy Antonis, he wanted to find a video online that included the word like love, in love. So he went on YouTube and he just typed in like song in love or love, like, you know, just to see what would come up. And my video came up, In Love With You, the song, and he found it and he watched it and he loved it and he thought it was really powerful, and he played it on the show like following day or week, whatever. And he played it on the show, and you know, a lot of people watch that show apparently. Like every time it airs, like 1.5, 2 million people watch it. So when he played it on the show, everyone just went ham. Like they just went crazy. They started to text the show and call in and say, who is that? What is that? And I was told that he didn't tell the viewers like who the artist was. He just said, you know, you got to find out on your own. He like played a game with them, you know what I'm saying? So all the traffic from the show went to my video on the internet, and that's how it happened. And it blew up in Greece. So.
And you said you went over there for a tour a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And what was the reception like over there?
Oh man, it was so incredible. It was like, you know, the experience that I had there, I'll never forget that, you know. The way that they cared about me, the people, and the way that they treated me was just, it was insane, you know. It was incredible. I couldn't really go anywhere in Greece without getting stopped, you know, for a picture, or autograph or something. So it's a good start, you know. It's like it's a good beginning, kind of, for that record, because that record, we didn't really have a plan for it. It was just like, it was like a fun thing I did with Polo the Don, and you know, it was a record that I thought would kind of stir things up. I thought it would like stir shit up, you know what I'm saying? Like it seemed like a record that would cause controversy, and that's more or less what my intention with that record was, you know. And the next thing I know, it's a single, you know, it's like a smash in Greece. So it's dope, man. It's only good things there, you know.
Definitely. And so I saw on Facebook that you were with Dr. Dre. Can you speak about that or not yet?
Yeah.
So what's up with Dr. Dre?
Man, yeah, that was incredible. I was in LA. I was in the Interscope studio, and I was waiting outside of Polo's room, you know. I was just waiting to speak to him, and he was in there just doing whatever. And I was sitting there waiting to speak to him. I'm just sitting in like a lounge, you know. And then Dre, he was working over there too at the Interscope studio on his own stuff, and he walked in to where I was in the lounge, and we struck up a conversation. Like he started like talking to me. He said, man, I heard the record, you know, the In Love With You record, and I loved it. I thought it was crazy. That shit is crazy. And you know, we started talking like normal people. And you know, I asked him what he was doing there, and he said, I'm in the room, man. I'm in the studio. I'm just working. You know, I have a beat on loop, real simple, just kind of drums and strings, real minimal. I'm like, no doubt. And he said, you know, if you want to come in and work and you want to write something, you're more than welcome to come in. And I was like, okay. You know, thank you, Dre. You know, I'm honored. That would be amazing. So he left the room after that conversation. And I had to then like really fathom what just happened. Like, I wasn't sure if that really happened or like if I was just thinking he said that. Like, I didn't know. So I had to ask one of my people at Interscope, like, yo, can you go in there and make sure that that's like, that this is real, that like I'm not just bugging out right now. So my dude went in there and Dre said, yeah, where is he? I've been waiting for him for like 10-15 minutes. So I went in there and he had this beat looped and you know, he was kind of writing some stuff with Stat Quo, my guy Stat Quo, and I kind of got, you know, involved with them. I started, you know, singing some melodies, and he's like, man, that tone is crazy. Your voice on this will be crazy. Why don't you go in there and lay this down? And I worked with him for like 5 hours. It was crazy. I'll never forget it. It was the craziest moment of my life.
So basically, you recorded a song with Dr. Dre.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Are we ever gonna hear it?
Man, honestly, I don't know. I could probably assume no, because, you know, the way Dre works is he's basically a madman when it comes to music. That's what I picked up. Like, he just makes millions of songs, and, you know, that's to me what a perfectionist is, you know? And because of how much of a perfectionist he is, it's like he makes so many songs and they kind of just end up in that pile, you know. But to me, it's not about that. It's like, you know what? If I don't end up on a record with him, I'll never forget the experience that I had with him, and that's all that matters to me, you know. That's what's valuable. And you know, if that's all that I've accomplished in music at the end of the day, then I'm happy. I'm good. You know, I work with Dr. Dre, so I'm good.
Cool. And so I want to rewind back to the beginning of Jared Evan. So I read that you started playing drums when you were young.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how that happened?
Yeah, you know, that's actually what I am. You know, before I got into the solo artist thing and, you know, rapping and singing and producing, I was a drummer. Like, I'm a drummer, you know what I mean? That's my axe. That's my main instrument. And I started playing the drums when I was about 6 years old. And it was nothing that was like forced on me or you know, I have a musical kind of family, but not really. I mean, I have a family that is into music, but none of them really are musicians. So it's not like I was surrounded by it. It's just like, man, I was just naturally, you know, innately intrigued by the drums. I don't know why. And when I was about 6 years old, you know, my parents would find me in the basement banging on the furniture, you know, just like tearing up the shit, right? And they said, yo, if you want to do this, we'll get you a drum set. Like, you can't be tearing up the furniture, you know? So my dad's friend, his good friend, he had a drum set, like old drum set from like the 60s, like an old Ludwig. And he lent it to me, and I started to play every day, and practice makes perfect, and I just played every day, repetition, you know, and I became a drummer. I kind of taught myself how to play. I took lessons eventually, but at first it was really kind of self-taught type of thing, and that's where I started, you know. I started by playing the drums, and you know, I idolized people like John Bonham, Keith Moon, Ginger Baker, Stuart Copeland. You know, I wanted to be a drummer, so that's where I started, and that's really where it all started. Before I started to rap or sing, that was the beginning, you know? So
you didn't know at that point that you had singing ability?
Not at all.
Because I think you have a nice voice.
Thank you.
And so you were drumming, and I also know that you play several instruments.
Yeah.
So how did all the other instruments come into play?
Well, it's funny because the drums are the only instrument of mine that I really like. That's where I shine the most, you know? But when I say I play other instruments, it's more or less meaning, you know, I can really just experiment with a lot of instruments when I produce. You know, I'm not Slash, I'm not Jimi Hendrix, but, you know, I could pick up a guitar and it's the rhythm, you know what I mean? I have a rhythm hand. More so than a chord hand, you know what I'm saying? So I could really pick up any instrument and just kind of hum what I hear and find it and just, you know, kind of, you know, manipulate sound. You know, that's really what I'm good at, you know? And
then at some point you started rapping.
Yeah.
When inspired you to start rapping, and how did that come about?
Yeah, it's funny. You know, growing up, I never had this, you know, aspiring goal to be a rapper, you know? Because I was playing the drums, I was really into classic rock, soul, James Brown, Stevie Wonder. Like, I was really into, like, vintage music, you know, in terms of how I grew up, you know? And it wasn't until I was like 12, 13 years old where I became obsessed with hip hop, like obsessed, like fixated, like weird, you know. I saw a Wu-Tang video. It was the Method Man video, M-E-T-H-O-D Man. I saw that video, and I instantly became obsessed with hip hop. I wanted to try it, you know. I just loved it. I just was in love with what I saw, you know. These visuals. I saw a video by Tribe Called Quest called Scenario. I saw that video. It blew my mind. And I just, you know, after that, I wanted to try it, and I wanted to see if I could do it because I was so intrigued by it. So at that point, that's when I started to freestyle. I didn't start to write rhymes. I started to freestyle. Every day I would come home from school. Well, I wasn't in school, you know. I would